Hello class. So in this module, this is where we start on chapter 5 of your book. And the subject we'll be discussing is organization and time management, which is very important, especially for an online class where you've got to manage your own time. So the first thing you want to do is get organized. So you'll want to have a clean study space, and that'll help you concentrate on what you're doing, and you can more easily and more quickly find what you need when you have a clean study place. And it gives us some suggestions, and you can pick whatever method works for you. One suggestion is you can fix up and organize a space designated for studying only. If you have to study in a multi-purpose space, use totes or a rolling cabinet to get organized, to organize what you need. If you like to study in the library, you can organize your backpack so you have room for supplies, your laptop, your books, your class assignments. So whatever works for you to be organized, that will really help you out. Whatever documents you have, you want to have an organization for them, and again, this is your preference. So the first suggestion here is to have electronic systems like computer folders, a cloud-based system, or electronic portfolio. This is a system that I use. In fact, if you look at my keychain, I always keep my thumb drive with me. It contains all my files for my classes, and so wherever I go, it's with me. I also keep a second copy. I highly recommend that you save all of your schoolwork not just in one spot, but in multiple spots in case you lose your thumb drive, and I've actually lost my thumb drive in the wash. Thank goodness it still works. But I also keep a copy of all my files in the cloud. And there are different spaces that you could use on the cloud to save your documents. I happen to use Dropbox, but there are other places online that you could use also. Another way to organize your documents is using a paper system. You can have a file cabinet the old-fashioned way, have an alphabetized file cabinet with binders and folders to organize your papers. And the book recommends labeling and color coding. Use a different color for different courses and or to indicate priority. Create meaningful and consistent file and folder names so it'll be easy for you to find whatever it is you need. And you might create an in progress folder and complete folders. And then finally, suggested here, back up your files. That's exactly what I was saying earlier. Back up your files. Have a thumb drive. Have files on the cloud. Maybe you might want to have hard copies and electronic copies. That might be a good thing. So whatever it is you feel works for you, scan your documents, save them in electronic format, store backup files on an external hard drive or a thumb drive, as I suggested. Whatever works for you. All right, here are 4 steps for effective time management. Step 1 is to track your time. Step 2 is identify your priorities. Step 3, build your schedule. Step 4, use tools to track your progress. So we're going to get into each of these steps one at a time here. Step 1, track your time. So for 1 week straight, record all of your daily activities and how long it takes for you to do each of these activities. And then after the end of the week, ask yourself, what activities are taking up most of your time? Am I spending too much time on unproductive or distracting activities? And if so, what are they? Ask yourself, when am I most productive? When are you least productive? I know for myself, I'm a morning person. I mean, I don't jump out of bed full of energy, but Once I'm up, after a little bit, morning time is when I have the most energy. So the most important things I need to get done, I do in the morning, because that's when I'm most productive, when I'm most energetic. Uh, in the afternoon, I get lazy, I get tired, I have to nap. So I typically don't schedule anything important in the afternoon. And then I seem to have, sometimes I have my second wind in the evening. So I might schedule some important things in the early evening. And then late evening is when I'll just get on YouTube and just explore and do nothing important. That's how I've scheduled my time. So you may want to examine how you track your time, how you spend your time, and see what works. Examine the patterns and draw your own conclusions. Everyone is going to come to different conclusions. Step 2 is to identify your priorities. Consider whether you're allocating enough time to the things that matter most. You'll want to prioritize your commitments and decide how much time an activity deserves. And it encourages you to use a 4-point scale. 4, use the number 4 for critically important, 3 for highly important, 2 for moderately important, and 1 for little or no importance. And once you know what's priority for you, it helps you make and uphold your choices. You know, the things that are critically important, obviously, you'll want to get those done. Make sure to get those things done. Step 3 is to build your schedule. And one of the exercises that you have to do in this module is to build a schedule for yourself. So you'll want to find a scheduling method that works for you. I recommend using an Excel spreadsheet listing the days and the times. There's an example in your book that you can follow. And think about and plan for your classes, for your study times, exams and assignments, work, family, school events, exercise and leisure, rewards. These are all important. In fact, many times I hear people say, well, I don't have time to exercise. But exercise, it can, for me, is a priority. If I don't exercise, I just lack energy. And so for me, it's highly important. I make sure that I schedule time for that. And you will want to schedule leisure time and reward time, because you'll experience burnout if all you're doing is just work, work, work all the time. And so try to build some flexibility within your schedule, because inevitably something will always go wrong. Your schedule will not be perfect. So make sure there's flexibility in your schedule. Step 4 is to use tools to track your progress on your projects. So it suggests creating a project plan. Estimate how much time will be required to complete each step of the project. Use deadlines to hold yourself accountable, and cross off tasks for a feeling of accomplishment. And here, this next slide is going to show an example of a project plan. So in this example, the student has to write a Greek architecture paper. It's due by October 31st, and the goal of the paper is to demonstrate new knowledge of Greek architecture through written work. So what he's done is he's created a column for action steps. He's broken down this project into these steps: reading the assigned textbook chapters, find and read 3 additional resources, find 6 images of architecture, and so on. Then he has a separate column for the estimated time that he would spend for each of these action steps. And then in the next column, he's created a deadline for each of these action steps so that he can meet the due date for the project, that of October 31st. And then finally, he has a column to X off the things that he has done. So that helps him to know if he's on track. So here, this is just an example of what you could do for the things you need to get done. You'll want to create a to-do list. And in a to-do list, this lists the tasks that you want to complete each day. And you'll want to cross off each task as you finish them. And it suggests creating this to-do list each night before you go to bed, or the first thing when you get up in the morning. That way you know exactly what needs to be done. And then finally we have a sample to-do list. So there he has a to-do list for Wednesday. He probably did this schedule either on Tuesday night or Wednesday morning. And there he lists 7 things that he needed to get done. Notice that he included high priority items like his homework and also exercise. There, item number 4, go running. So he scheduled that time, and going to dinner with his kids. All of the things he needed to get done, he put on his to-do list. So this is what something that's good for time management. The last thing we're going to talk about in this video is managing your time in your online classes. Now again, in your face-to-face classes, it's, you have your scheduled days and times that you're going to class, but when you have an online class, you have to schedule yourself. You have to manage yourself better. Online classes are less structured than traditional in-person classes, so you've got to create the structure. And most of these online classes take just as much time to accomplish as in-person classes. So you have to be careful to make sure you schedule enough time to do the work for your online classes. So to stay on top of your online coursework, you should get comfortable with the class format, devote time each week to work on your assignments, log into your online class each day, know your deadlines, and schedule time for live meetings hosted by your instructor, which we do in our class. So these are some good suggestions to help you manage your online classes, and also to just be overall have good time management and organization.